So I haven't really like stand a project group before. I'm like half standing Kepler. I keep up with all their releases and everything, and I like have a bias, but I'm not super like I'm emotionally invested, but it's not like they're not like my ults, right? But it was just something about Zero Base One that just I don't know what it was. I don't know what crack they put into that survival show. I've I've never watched a K-pop survival show in its entirety, by the way. Like just to make that clear, I this is a completely new experience for me. And Zero Base One have been my ults for the past 2 months. And I was not expecting my life to go like this. So I'm gonna like do a little rant, same as like last video, where I just like sit down and just like talk, kind of like unedited. There might be like maybe a cut here or there, but like it's just gonna be just like a rambly style how I got into Zero Base One, video. So it started off obviously with like Boys Planet, right? So my friends were like watching Boys Planet like as it was airing, right? And I was into K-pop. Like I've been into K-pop since 2019. And so I like kind of knew of like the survival show like format and everything. I just had never watched one in its entirety because I struggle with like getting attached to groups and stuff like that and then having them disband. Um it makes me very emotional. It's a rough time. So yeah, but I was kind of like a more casual fan. Well, we'll say like a fan at least of Kepler. Like since their debut and everything, I'd followed their career and everything. I saw clips of Girls Planet 999 on Twitter and all that. So when Boys Planet came around, I was like, like this sounds cool. I'm gonna be like for real with y'all though. Like I'm more of a girl group like enjoyer. Like I listen to more of them. Nothing against my boy groups or nothing. I'm a big multi, but I just tend to listen to more girl groups. When Boys Planet was airing, a few of my friends were like, "Ooh, like Naima, you should watch this." And I was like, "Sure," but my ass did not. I like put it off for so long because I was like, I don't have the emotional attachment. Like, I don't have the capacity to emotionally attach myself to a new group right now. Like, I can't do it. I especially in recent years, like since like being into like K-pop and everything, like the rate at which I stand groups has slowed down significantly, because I kind of, like once you've been in it for like a few years, it's kind of you see how the industry kind of like ebbs and flows and everything. You kind of find your groups and everything. I'm always open to like learning about new groups, but like I as far as like hardcore like standing like really really getting into them, like it I don't deep dive into like groups that often. And so I just kind of like casually kept up with Boys Planet like through my friends, right? So they would like just give me little updates or whatever. They'd tell me about their faves. I'd be like, "Oh my god, Slay! Like, they're so great." I'd watch their little performances or clips or whatever. But I wasn't super like into the show, right? And then I find this song Jelly Pop, and I was like obsessed. I was like, oh, on repeat, girl. We have to stream, right? In Bloom releases because I saw like the whole like news on Twitter, obviously, of like Hal being PO1. Super proud of him. I was like, oh my god, Slay. Literally history in the making. We love to see it. And um with In Bloom, I was like, this is really solid debut. I didn't know like I knew a couple of the members' names, like just from them being popular on Twitter from my friends telling me about certain members, but I wasn't like I didn't attach names to faces yet because I wasn't a fan. And so I found In Bloom, like right around when they debuted, right? I was like, oh, this is a really solid song. But I just never checked them out beyond that because I was like, I don't know, this is a cool song, and I don't know for whatever reason I just was just like, like that's cool, but I'll like check out the rest of their music later, right? Melting Point, like the album Melting Point comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check this out because I like their debut or whatever. I ended up not checking it out. Um, I kind of, well, I put it off, and then I like kept hearing about like news because like one, my friend would send me Zero Base One news, and then two, like I just heard about it a lot. So I guess I kind of was just like, I was like half in the fandom, or I was in like certain like fandom spaces or whatever that could be considered like Zero's territory, but I wasn't like in it, like I wasn't participating, you know? And so I looked through like Twitter or whatever, and I saw that their mini album Melting Point title track Crush like had come out, and everybody, I remember everybody was like complaining, being like, oh my god, we lost Zero Base One, that annoys me, this, that, and the third. Oh, it's the end of fifth gen as we know it, like, right? Like people being dramatic as always. And I was like, huh, I feel like it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but I'm gonna hold off and like, wait until I listen to the whole song, right? And so I don't listen to the whole song. I put it off as usual. And this is in like November, right? Like when? Hold on. I'm gonna look this up. When did Melting Point come out? Melting Point. Hold on. Zero Base One. When did this come out? November 6th, 2023. I was right. Okay, so yeah, November, right? Um, so that happens. I see clips of their award show like moments. I'm like, okay, slay. Don't really look into them again, right? Here comes February. So at the end of February, I was like, I haven't watched a show in like a long time, and I haven't heard like In Bloom in like a minute or whatever. Let me check up on these little Zero Base One guys. Let's see what's going on over here, right? And so I watched like a performance of In Bloom, right? And I was floored. I was like, this choreography is insane. Like, what? Like, I was like in shock at the amount like of how in sync they were for being a project group too. I was like, that's incredible that you guys have already have this much like synergy. Um, I loved like the musicality and like the picture painting that we're doing in like the choreo. It's very TXT, reminded me of that. Which spoiler are one of my olds. Love them. And so I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like this really reminds me of like a lot of the qualities I like look for in boy groups, right? And so I do a little deep dive into Boys Planet because I was like, I need to know what's going on. Now, I had followed some of the general goings on of the show because of this one other YouTube channel called The Ampliverse. I was like watching their Boys Love Boys Planet series, everything. So I knew of some of the general events of the show from there, but it'd been a minute like since I'd watched that series. I didn't remember a whole lot. Like I knew like of certain details, but and so I go on my phone or whatever, and I'm like, oh, let's watch Boys Planet or whatever, right? And so I start watching Boys Planet like end of February, like all throughout March and everything. Tell me why that show, the brain rot that ensued. I would like get off work and like try and like get home as fast as possible just so I could binge watch this show and like watch people's like analyses and reactions. It was the grip that the show had on me was insane. I would not shut up about it for like a month to like all of my friends. It was so bad. And I was like, see, I was I was kind of overdue for like a new hyperfixation. Like I knew I was like, there's gonna be a group that's gonna like just catch my eye like really soon. I just wasn't expecting it to be a project group, and so I was like, shit. Well, what do I do now? I get through Boys Planet. I rewatched the Boys Love Boys Planet series. Shout out to the Ampliverse. We love you. And then I'm like, Well, now I have to dive into the discography because I've shed tears like over this entire show. Like I don't know how many times. Pillows soaking wet, like we're just I'm in shambles, right? And and this is like fully like almost a year after the show was finished airing. So anyway, I get into their discography because I was like, well, I've already listened to them Bloom. Like, I might as well, like, they only have like two mini albums out at this point, so I might as well, you know? I go into their debut EP and I'm like, okay, we love a little like flower boy moment. It's very cute. We love to see it. And then I watched the Melting Point music video and I'm like, oh, oh dear. This isn't good. It was something about that music video where like something just clicked for me. Truly, and that's like the only way I can describe it is that something clicked in my brain, and I was like, this might just be that might be my group. That might be one of my groups. I watched like the Crush music video finally, right? Um, I Side note, I know I say I'm more of like a girl group enjoyer, but I love me a pots and pans moment too. Like regardless of what kind of group it's from, I love a pots and pans moment, right? So I was living for Crush. I will say it's not my favorite of all of their title tracks, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it because girl, that shit was on the playlist immediately. Like it was so like the brain. I'm telling you guys, the brain rot was so bad. And then I was like, well, like I already listened to the other album and I already watched other music videos. So let me like dive into the rest of the Melting Point album. As soon as I hear Take My Hand, I was like, oh, they're an old. It was immediate. I was like, this music was like tailor made for my brain. Truly, I don't know what those producers were on when they were making that song, but they need to like win an award or something. And then the choreography. I just there's just too much talent just cooking up in Wake One. We need to. Mm-mm. We need to close the doors. We need to stop. I just got obsessed like so fast, and like when I was delving into like the members too and like learning more about their personalities, because like I knew like some of like their personality from Boys Planet, but it was a really stressful environment. We didn't. Well, I knew who was in the group because like I watched it after the show ended, but I wasn't like I feel like we weren't able to get like a full on glimpse of their personalities and everything, right? So like seeing them really like flourish, especially like seeing the group dynamic like, become stronger as like they go throughout their career and everything. I think that watching that was like really cool to see and everything. I don't know. I just really like the member dynamic and like different like meshing of like personalities and everything. I think it's kind of like a once in a lifetime type thing, right? Like you would have never expected like these nine random ass people to like end up in a group together, and yet here we are, and like they work so well. Like it's so cool. I love how like each member really shines like in their like own like special way and everything. Like it doesn't feel like one member is like overshadowing the other. Even if there are members that are like more popular than others, like inevitably that's going to happen. It definitely feels like it's a well-balanced group. And I really appreciate that cuz I feel like especially with project groups, it can be kind of difficult to kind of like have that balance. And so, I don't know, they're just really special. I don't know. They're really cool. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into like Zero Base One. And then of course Sweat came out like a month after I like did my whole deep dive in like March, right? And I was obsessed. I was like, "Oop, playlist immediately." Same with their like newest mini album and everything. You Have Me at Hello. I love the songs. It's amazing. So, I don't know. They're just really special to me. I don't know. Anyways, I want to do I'm gonna be so for real. I want to do more deep dives on like other groups. So like let me know if there are like other groups that you guys want me to like do a little like rant style video on. And yeah, that's it. Bye.